A couple of years ago, Music Man were just appearing everywhere on Warped Tour. All the bands were playing Music Man, and at first I didn't really like them, but they grew on me, so I had a problem. Which one did I want? Which one did I want? Now, you all know I got this one, but what I wished was a video comparing this one, the Valentine, and the Stingray. I love them both, but nobody was talking about the difference between these two, except, I mean, for the specs that I could read, so let's have a discussion about it. There were some problems for me finding information about these two, actually. I mean, the Music Man website have a lot of information about these two. They don't say that much about some of the things on these guitars, so I'd like to talk to you guys about it. I know some of you have asked me to talk about it, so yeah, here we go. Let's talk about the pickups first. Now, the obvious thing is that, well, it might seem that they both are humbucker guitars, but that's not really the case. This one actually has a single coil in the bridge and a humbucker in the neck. So that's one of the main differences. This is basically a Telecaster, or Music Man's offering of a Telecaster, compared to the Stingray, which has a double humbucker type of setup. They sound very different too. Now, this one sounds way more like a Telecaster. Both of the guitars lends themselves to basically any type of music, really. The silent circuit in the Valentine really helps with if you want to play heavy rock or metal, because it's dead quiet for the most part. And yeah, it's super clear when you're playing this. The Stingray is different though, because it has Alnico 5 pickups. It's warmer, lends itself perfectly for rock music. I think it actually is made for that type of music, but both of them are really good for that type of sound. Both of them can do perfect cleans, but if you are more of a clean playing guy, I would highly recommend the Valentine, just because the single coil pickup is nicer with clean sounds. At least that's what I think. It lends itself to funk and pop type of music really well as well. I mean, you can play anything on it, really. Well, that's my recommendation, at least. Get this if you want to play more clean stuff. It could do heavy, no problems. I play heavy only on this thing and it's perfect. If you play more rock and just want something more straightforward, this one is the way to go. I'm gonna play these two both through my Kemper using a Friedman BE100 profile from Mathfig, just so you can have a better understanding of what these sound like when played heavy. That's one of the things you can't find on YouTube that easy, so I think that's a good comparison for this one. So for electronics, these are not the same at all. Let's talk about the Valentine first. This one has a battery access door. Now, the battery is used for the boost that's available on this, basically a tap-tap type of thing. And it has a way for you to split them. I don't think the electronics are needed for that, but it also has a silent circuit to keep the single coil in check. And I mean, it sounds great, it works perfectly, but yeah, it's a battery type of guitar, so that's something you have to keep in mind when buying these. Now, the Stingray RS is super straightforward when it comes to electronics. It's just the basic setup you have for a guitar, right? It's passive, no need to think about any weird battery stuff. Yeah, so yeah, straightforward as hell, and I like it that way as well. Now, when we talk about playability on both of these guitars, they are a bit different. And when talking about playability, we're talking about the neck for the most part, right? Now, the necks on these two guitars are very different. The Valentine is super thin, and the Stingray is a bit chunkier. It reminds me more of a like standard C type of neck that you find on your regular Fender. It might even be a bit chunkier. that way it's really different. Not a lot of people talked about this when buying these, so buying this one for me was a gamble because I had no idea what the neck was like, because they don't specify it on Music Man's website. They really should though. I shouldn't need to go into a lot of different forums to find my answers about how the necks are for this. I mean, you're buying an expensive guitar, you should really find all the information you need about the guitar on their website. So yeah, the Valentine is really thin and the Stingray is really chunky. Playability wise, they're super smooth. I mean, it's Music Man neck, so it's perfect really. No need to think about that. It's just how you like your necks to be and how they feel in your hands is the main thing. When it comes to other types of playability, a lot of people seem to hit this. It happens to me as well because I strum really hard and I tend to hit this part. This is the same thing on the Valentine as it is on the Stingray. I've been thinking about pulling it out. I know a lot of people do that, especially Dustin from Thrice definitely pulled that one out and put a double dual pot thing on the bottom one. It makes sense. It's a bit in the way actually, but I mean, I'm getting used to it. Hopefully I don't need to make any models to it, but if I were to play it live, that would probably be a thing I would get annoyed at. I tend to hit it and accidentally roll back the volume as well. This happens on both of these guitars, so it's something to think about. Otherwise, playability is perfect. I mean, it's a Music Man guitar. I mean, it's basically perfection. And another thing to note is that the Stingray has a trem. The Valentine normally, the normal model, has not. So if you're into having a trem, maybe the Stingray is something for you. But don't worry, if you don't like trems, it comes decked from the start, so you don't have to think about it that much if you're not into it. I'm personally not into trems that much, so I'm super happy it comes decked, so I don't have to do anything. It's just perfect out of the gate for me. Yeah, something to note. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. There's not that much differences playability wise. It's mostly sonically, right? And the neck. But I hope this helped you decide on which of these you'd like to buy. For me, the Valentine is still the better pick. For me, it's just a better player. I love the Stingray, but this, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. So if you have any questions about the Valentine or the Stingray or any of the other gear I have in my little room here, don't hesitate to write me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I love talking to you guys, so please, I know some of you are playing Music Man. Please talk to me about it. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Talk soon.